Welcome to Therapy Explained, where we explain, demystify, and destigmatize mental health and mental health treatment. My name is Deniss. I'm a licensed therapist and mental health advocate and speaker, and of course, your host here at Therapy Explained. Today we're going to be talking about, as always, one of my favorite things to talk about, which is boundaries. We most recently had a conversation about boundaries at work and how to build resiliency and keep yourself from getting into the cycle of burnout. But oftentimes, a lot of the questions that I get is, how do I build boundaries? How do I even know what my boundaries are? And then most importantly, how do I build boundaries that actually fit my culture and fit me? There's a lot of information out there about what boundaries are, what they're supposed to sound like or look like or feel like, and there are certain boundaries that perhaps across the board we can all agree with, but there might be certain boundaries that make you think, that actually wouldn't feel good for me in my life. And that is what I want to talk to you about today, is how you can start to listen to your body as it tells you what kind of boundaries you need in your life and in your relationships, and what kind of boundaries perhaps don't necessarily have to be for you if they don't feel like they align to you. Especially when we talk about being a person of color or a woman of color, making sure that our boundaries align with our values and the kind of person and life that we want to be and have. Listening to our body as it communicates to us about those boundaries will help us be able to not just feel comfortable with our boundaries, but in the long run, that's what's going to help us learn how to establish our boundaries. Sometimes a boundary is hard to keep because it doesn't align with who we are. But before we jump into that very important conversation, if you're not already subscribed to the channel, please make sure that you do. I do videos on boundaries, on mental health, specifically for people of color and even more in particular for women of color. So if you want more videos like this, and be sure to subscribe. And if you find the video useful or you feel that you learned something along the way, be sure to give it a thumbs up. Without further ado, let's jump into the conversation. Here are 3 things to pay attention to as you're building boundaries to make sure that they align with who you are and that they feel good, authentic, and comfortable as you embark on this sometimes challenging journey. Number 1, listen to your body. As I mentioned earlier, your body's usually the one that is going to be telling you what feels good and what doesn't. As you're having interactions throughout the day with people around you, you might notice that maybe your chest gets very tight, or your breathing gets really fast, or your face gets very hot, or you're noticing that your hands clump into a fist when you're around a particular person or situation or topic. So start to pay attention to those cues. Your body is telling you, I feel a very strong way about whatever is happening. The more curious that we can be and the more that we can build this self-awareness, the easier it will be for us to be able to establish boundaries around it. If somebody said something that felt uncomfortable, then our body might be feeling uncomfortable. So if you pay attention to that, then you can say, oh, okay, this certain topic or this certain action doesn't feel good to me. Let me find a way to communicate that to this person. Number 2 is pay attention to your emotions. Now, your body is a whole system. So as we're talking about how you are probably going to feel some tension, you might feel some heat, you might get cold in certain situations. Those will also more than likely come with emotions. You might notice that certain things make you anxious, make you feel unsafe, maybe even make you angry or upset. And again, being curious and building self-awareness is key. Start asking yourself, what is this feeling? You might just be able to notice, I don't like this. This doesn't feel comfortable. And the next question after that is, what is this feeling? Now, if you're early on in your journey, it might be difficult to identify the actual emotion connected to that. And that's probably because you're not used to doing that. No one taught you how to do that, and it's also not normalized in our society, not quite yet, to be able to identify that particular emotion as you're feeling it. So if you would like some help, I did build an emotions chart for you to be able to download, available at my shop. So go ahead and check that out so that it'll be easier for you to look at it and try to pick out an emotion that you might be having in that moment. Now, once you have that emotion, again, it's being curious about it. It's anger, it's sad, it's confusion, it's loneliness. Why? Where is it coming from? And is there a boundary that I need to build around this? Is this because of a particular comment or a particular situation? And what can I do to try to help keep myself feeling safe? And lastly, make a list of your values. I find that starting off with a list of your values can also be very important. So think about what are the things that are the most important to you, what are your priorities. A value of mine is like family, or is it like a good work ethic? Now, once you have that, tease it down even more. What does that mean? A value of mine is family. Okay, what about family? Is it closeness? Is it safety? Is it's important for me to, attend all the events with my family, or connected to my family and friends even, perhaps. So if those are part of your values, then you can build a boundary around that with work, right? If your value is family and you want to make sure that you are present for all the big events, then that means that, hey, maybe establishing healthy boundaries around work where you are taking time off, or having a hard stop at a certain time so that you can have dinner with your family or spend time with your friends, then that boundary will align with your values. And as I mentioned earlier, what I find with patients is that when we build a boundary, right, or when I help them build a boundary that aligns with their values, it feels so much smoother and so much easier because there's no second guessing. There isn't, ooh, I don't know, what if? There'll still be some fear and there might still be some anxiety, but at the end of the day, those what ifs are not as overwhelming. What if they get upset with me because I chose to miss work or to take a half day so that I could be there for my mom's birthday? And as you're saying that, you're thinking, oh, well, actually, I'm okay with that because this is a value of mine. This is a priority for me. This is something that I want to do. And so it will come easier. It will feel a little bit more comfortable, and you will most importantly feel more confident as you're building boundaries when they align with your values. Now, I know that building, establishing, and maintaining boundaries is a whole journey. This is the chunk of the work that I do, particularly when we are talking about first-gen mental health or BIPOC mental health, because some of our values can be family and it can be community. Sometimes we prioritize those things over ourselves, and it is hard for us to establish personal boundaries about what we need in order to keep ourselves feeling safe, comfortable, and energized to be present with our families. So kind of finding that balance of how can I take care of myself and still have healthy boundaries at work, and then also still be present for my family, is kind of an ongoing journey, and it's a very individual journey. Try to start with these 3, see what comes up for you, and then if you still need some help about how to word your boundaries or finding ways to be able to maintain some of these boundaries and processing some of those things, I, as always, will encourage you to seek out mental health support with a professional who can get to know you and can help you tailor those coping tools and those strategies to your unique situation. However, if that's out of your budget or you're already doing that and you're looking for additional tools for you, remember to check out my shop. I have been creating a ton of cool low-cost tools for you. A lot of my stuff is less than $15, $20 at the shop. It's all a digital download, so whatever you purchase will go immediately into your inbox for download, and you can start using all of that today. And I also hope that you found today's video helpful. If you did, be sure to give it a thumbs up. And as always, if you're not already subscribed, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. I make videos similar to this, and I publish them every first and third Monday of the month. So go ahead and subscribe so that you're notified when those videos do go up. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.